that have been staying at home during this pre-season. Now, one guy that I don't think is going to go anywhere, sadly, even though we want it to happen, is Ndombele. Now, Connor, last week on the show, we spoke about if Ndombele goes on the tour, it could be a redemption. But Conte's having none of it. He stayed at home. So what do you think that means for him?
What does that mean for Tanguy Ndombele? Well, see, the thing is, right, he, as I'm sure even Lyon fans will probably tell you, because there was all this talk about when he was playing at the start of last season for them, and first couple of games, I think it was Lyon, he was really turning up and this, that, the other, and it seems to have drifted off again. So in terms of what this means, I honestly don't know. I think he's definitely either going to rot in the under 23s or he's going to end up going out on loan. Or, you know what I mean? He could always be a bargaining chip. He could always be, if there's a player that we fancy in Europe and we want to do a sort of player plus cash deal, or maybe like a sort of loan deal. I don't know. He's job at Deliveroo. Well, it's not a bad idea. No, it is such an odd one. And you just think as well, like in terms of the redemption arc, you sort of half of you hoped that it was possible because Conte is so good at turning players around. But I think in general, it's just the way he walked off. I think it was the Morecambe FA Cup game. Everyone booing in, the way it just, yeah. I don't see a way back for him. Obviously, the fact that he's not gone on the tour. So in terms of what we do here, we just have to hope a club comes in, or maybe even his agent offers him out or something. And it's such a shame because so much potential there and so much money spent, and just a lot of us at the time were thinking this guy could be, ironically, our new Ndombele. He's got it all. He's got this, that, the other, and it's just not worked out. So yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, it all depends on a club coming in for him, to be honest. Like a lot with the other players there as well, like with your mate Winksy, as well. So yeah, that's a great point there. Exactly, he might well just go on loan and see the rest of his contract out. Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's the trouble. Like I say, it's whether anybody will come in with him, or has Conte done him a favour, Jay? Because after seeing all the running they were doing after, obviously, the training today, I think he would have died. I don't think he would have done one. I don't think he would have completed the training, to be fair, let alone the running after it.
That must have been the message going to ask him if he wanted to travel. I reckon he was on the plane, ready to go, and then Conte went, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do 42 laps of the pitch." And then all you saw was the back plane door open, and Ndombele put a parachute on, jump out the back, and just like fly his way back to North London to hide away. But yeah, I think his time's done. I don't like Lynch 616 has put in the chat about Paqueta. Last time we bought a creative midfielder from Lyon. We're currently still talking about him. So I don't think I want another one in the club from Lyon after our recent transactions with them. Apart from Hugo Lloris, which isn't so recent, but that's still a great transfer. But no, and Ndombele, yeah, it's done. It's done. I just, I've been watching a lot of Football Manager videos on how to remove players from your club if you don't want them there, and I just feel like Daniel Levy should watch the Zealand tutorial on how to do it just to get him out of the club, because it made such a difference last year. We talked on a couple of podcasts ago about clearing out the dead wood and the people with the negative energy, and he is definitely one of those players. So whether he goes out on loan and we end up paying all of his wages, I just think he just needs to be out of the dressing room. With the way Conte plays and the discipline, it only takes one bad egg to spoil the bunch. So yeah.
I mean, Crackers, it comes back to this. I didn't call it Conte then, Crackers. It comes back to this age-old thing again. Who wants him? That's the trouble. Where does he go?
No one. No one wants him. He's gone out on loan, straight back. He's honestly, Hollie, he's a disgrace. The man is an utter disgrace. He really is. Have you ever seen, a few years ago, there was a documentary on one of the managers, and he was having the kids in on YTS. Ask your granddad, kid, what YTS was, like the youth training scheme. And they would come in and they'd play at the club, not like the juniors. So it was down to the manager. It might have been somebody like Harry Bassett. He'd get him in and say, "Sorry, son, you haven't made it. I've got to let you go." And these kids are absolutely destroyed. They are burning to be professional footballers. It's all they want to do. They wasn't getting on with schoolwork. I mean, it's different now. You have to keep your sort of education levels up. They absolutely, it was all or nothing for them. And they were being told, sorry, you've got no future here. And off they went to go and get another club. These kids were in absolute bits, absolute pieces. They would have died to have a contract to play football. And here's a man who can play football, who's got talent for days, absolute talent for football, talenting for days. And he does that. He's a disgrace. He's an absolute disgrace. He's let down every kid that's ever been let go by a club. And honestly, if I was the club, I would be tempted to actually sack him and not even pay his contract up and say, tell you what, see you in court. Because the rumours are that before they flew out back at Hotspur Way, they were asked to do 30 lengths of the pitch. And he got to about 20 and just gave up, just walked off. Like, no, I'm not having that. Off I go. See you later. Now, surely in a player's contract, I've seen a player's contract years and years ago, but I would hazard a guess that somewhere in there is your standards and behaviours within that contract, that you must keep up a certain level of fitness and, you know, certain ways of conducting yourself and certain ways of doing this and doing that away from the club. You know, you're not going to be out drinking and doing this and doing that. So you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your contract. Now, I would say that somewhere in there, he's actually breached that contract by not keeping himself in a nick to be able to do basic training and just having to give up. So if I was the club, I'd say, right, tell you what, rip your contract up. You're now a free agent. Go and find yourself a club. And you know that 200 grand a week you've got however long for? See you in court for it. Let's see how you get on. But his actual attitude, he's disgraceful. He's absolutely disgraceful. He owes it to every kid let go by a club to go and give it everything. And so move on before I start swearing and getting really angry about him, because like he's just a waster, absolute waster.
Especially for that kind of money. I mean, people will put a spin on it and say, oh, but we should have never given him that money anyway. But that's not the point. Like, you're a professional footballer. You've decided to go along this path, like you say. You owe it, like you said, to everybody that's wanted to be one.
Yeah.
Go out there and do your job. Because
let me just, I'll caveat everything I just said, though, with as long as there's nothing going on with him physically or mentally. If there's problems with him, then the club need to offer him every bit of help, because I've said before, Dean Richards years ago got absolute pelters off the Spurs fans, missing headers, doing this, doing that. Poor sod was dying with a brain tumour. And everybody just thought that he'd gone off the boil. So, I mean, as long as there's nothing going on physically or mentally with Ndombele, and it is just a pure matter of his effort and not being bothered, then that's just disgraceful. It is disgraceful. There's other things going on. I wish him all the best, like, you know, in a recovery or getting some help or something, as long as he's asking for it. But if not, then like, Tedder, just get out of the club, please. Just go, rip his contract up.
No, I think you're right. I think that's the thing. Like you say, it's annoying to see him not performing, but if it's because of medically or mentally, then fairs. But like you say, you can only help someone if they're going to help themselves.